So, if you've been watching the news or you've been on social media, you know that a missing woman from Alabama, Carlee Russell, went missing at the end of last week and was found on Saturday. And there was a lot of confusion in what happened to her. And so today I'm going to be sharing a few statements from the family and from the police, and then we're going to analyze those together prior to the statement from, or actually the press conference later from police. Quick recap on what happened to Carlee. So, according to police, initially, there was a police call, a 911 call made on apparently the side of the highway where she had allegedly seen a toddler walking by himself. And she, being a good Samaritan, went on the side of the highway to see what happened. And then allegedly, that's when she got abducted. And a lot of information has since come out, which we're going to talk about today. But that was the initial report that it turns out to be about 49 hours that she had been abducted. And then she ended up at her parents' home. And she, by the way, she's 25 years old and she's a nursing student. That's my understanding. And she arrived home after 49 hours. And that's where the story is right now. And she did go to the hospital to be checked. So that's the story that we heard from police. And so the boyfriend and the parents are continuing to say that this was an abduction. However, the confusion happens in that if this was indeed an abduction, there hasn't been any sketch of who the potential abductor could be. There aren't any details. There didn't seem to be any urgency from police to release that information, which is obviously a potential danger to the public. And so that's where the public is starting to have a lot of questions on what's happening. So we're going to find out more from the press conference. But up until then, today I want to share a couple of the statements. So first, I'm going to go through an interview that the parents did on the Today Show. Now, the interesting thing is that the parents have been saying that they wanted privacy, and yet they come out on the Today Show. So there was a little bit of a strangeness there in the messaging, right? So let's watch this together. It's not too long.
The moment you all first laid eyes on her again, what was it like?
To me, just so much joy.
This morning, in an exclusive sit-down with NBC News, the parents of 25-year-old Carlee Russell are speaking out, describing the moment their daughter appeared on their doorstep after being missing for more than 48 hours.
What did you do when you saw her?
We tried to hug her as best we could, but I had to stand back because she was not in a good state. So we had to stand back and let medical professionals work with her. But
last Thursday, police say Carlee called 911 to report a toddler walking alone on the interstate. She pulled over while on the phone with a family member who described hearing Carlee scream.
Her vehicle's unlocked, running all her personal belongings except for her phone.
On the scene, police found no sign of Carlee or a child, and they say no children were reported as missing during that time period. The Russells waited in agony until Saturday night.
There were actually just so many calls and texts from people who maliciously lied to us. I just didn't know people could be so evil.
Authorities have not indicated where Carlee was during the 48 hours she was missing or what happened. Her parents declined to share what their daughter told them, citing the ongoing investigation.
And can you tell me what happened Saturday night? Did you just get a knock at the door?
Anything leading to the case itself, we can't discuss that.
But they say speculation about the circumstances surrounding Carlee's disappearance are only making things worse.
She's having to deal with the trauma of people just making completely false allegations about her.
Her family now urging the public to let the investigation play out, but mentioning an abductor. Her mother asking to read a brief message to the public.
Carlee has given detectives her statement so that they can continue to pursue her abductor.
Do you believe that there's an abductor still out there?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
NBC News has reached out to the Hoover Police Department to ask whether they're looking for an individual involved. Police have just said they're following up on all information provided by Carlee.
And when I talked to you all on Saturday, you also said your daughter is a fighter and she would find a way back to you.
I felt that in my heart.
Is that what happened?
She did. She found her way back to us. However, we can't discuss the details of that.
But they say one thing is clear.
Do you believe she was fighting for her
Oh,
life?
she definitely fought for her life. There were moments when she physically had to fight for her life, and there were moments when she had to mentally fight for her life.
But she made it back to you.
She made it back.
Yeah, she did make it back. All right, Priscilla, so investigators are obviously busy on this case. What are they looking into going forward?
Yeah, Hoda, right now they're analyzing that initial 911 call and also that traffic cam video showing that car driving on the interstate very slowly with its flashers on, believed to be Carlee's car. And of course, they're looking at the evidence from the crime scene, including the car and her cell phone, which was found on the roadway nearby. Police say that they have been able to account for all of her steps leading up to her disappearance, but those 48 hours when she was gone still remain a mystery. Hoda?
Yeah, leaving behind her phone, her pocketbook, and all those things, a lot of things that investigators are looking into. Priscilla, thank you.
So the part that I find really interesting is that the entire interview, the father only said she came home or something like that right at the end. It's like that's the only thing that he could confirm. And he was looking down a lot. He, their body language, in this channel, we do sometimes review body language, what is not said, right? And obviously what is said and what is not said. Because sometimes, in fact, real actual communication happens more on the subconscious level. What is what is actually not said, body language and things like that. And so the mom seems almost like more emotionally, obviously she's invested, but more speaking emotionally. And the father is very silent. He's looking down. He only spoke, and I'm going to just see exactly what he said. And I'm not saying the parents are in on it. I'm just saying, to me, it seems like either the father is like purposely not saying anything or doesn't necessarily believe everything that is being said. Let's see, what were his exact words there at the end?
Back to you.
She made it back.
Yeah, she did make it back.
Right, there we go.
Laid eyes on her.
What he said, the only words that they got of him, of the father, was she made it back, which is the truth, right? That is a fact that he can say she made it back because she was actually seen walking back and she made it back. Everything else that the mom's saying, to me, he doesn't seem to be necessarily either in agreement with or has doubts or is just trying to be quiet and silent about it. So that's, sometimes when you analyze this stuff, you see, I'm not saying that the parents are complicit or that they're in on anything. It's just an interesting perspective to see what isn't being seen or what isn't being said, right? Okay, so that's the statement from the parents. Now I'm going to share a statement from the place where Carlee worked. This was a statement yesterday that was released at 3 p.m. In response to the many inquiries Woodhouse Spa Birmingham has received over the past several days regarding the Carlee Russell case, we offer the following. Our greatest concern has always been the well-being of Carlee and her safe return. Woodhouse Spa employees have been deeply impacted by the events that transpired, but are now ecstatic with the news of Carlee's return home. Our employees worked extremely hard through very tough times, keeping guests happy while dealing with the fact that their coworker was missing. We've been working with the Hoover Police Department since Friday morning, the morning following Carlee's disappearance, in order to come up with any information that would help the investigation. Everything we uncovered is in the possession of the Hoover Police Department. I think they said in the possession. let me just read that again. Everything we uncovered is in the possession of the Hoover Police Department. We understand the investigation is in a very sensitive state and do not want to release any details that could jeopardize the investigation. Leaks, both true and untrue, can have a devastating impact on any investigation. We understand there are many posts on social media claiming certain information to be true. Some items are factual while others are not. Please rest assured that the Hoover Police Department is working around the clock to bring this case to conclusion. We have great confidence in the investigators and expect a resolution soon. So the interesting thing is that they didn't actually say anything, right? But this statement over here where it says some items are factual while others are not, there are, of course, some rumors that have to do with, what she was doing at work or whether she was fired or not, or if she took something from them or what. So you can go online and read all the different rumors. But what's interesting there is it says some items are factual while others are not. So it's interesting that they would even state that, because now they're almost like saying that the rumors are true, right? And so that is what is very, very interesting there about that. So again, one thing that when you're reviewing this from a critical thinking standpoint, is seeing or reading between the lines. In other words, what are they not saying, right? So in this case, they're not saying the information, but they're giving you little clues, little seeds of, planting little bits and pieces here for you to be like, right? So this just added to the confusion now because one, they didn't clarify anything, and two, they are saying that some of the stuff is true, or some of the stuff is factual. Okay, then the Hoover Police put out a press release. Now, they only actually publicly posted this morning, although they released a statement yesterday. And so that in itself is a little bit concerning. I'm not sure if they did that on purpose. It might have been they just sent a press release to media and that's it. It's possible that it's a small town. Maybe they are understaffed and maybe the communications person is overwhelmed and maybe just didn't have a chance to post this until this morning. So the press release says, well, first of all, it says the press conference is scheduled for 2:30 p.m. Alabama time today. Due to space limitations, okay, that is about credentialing. The investigation into the Carlee Russell case continues as detectives are working to determine what happened from the time prior to her 911 call Thursday night until she returned home on foot Saturday night. Detectives spoke to Carlee very briefly upon her return home and are waiting for her to be made available to obtain a more detailed statement about the sequence of events during that time frame. While we are not in a position to reveal all of the information we have gathered at this point, we can talk about some details that we have not previously discussed. First, after leaving the Colonnade, which is where she went to get some food, Carlee went to Target on Highway 280 and purchased some snack food type items. These items were not located in the vehicle or with her cell phone and wig at the scene of her disappearance. So that's very interesting. She purchased snacks that were not at the scene. The Hoover Police Department has not located any evidence of a toddler walking down the interstate, nor did we receive any additional calls about a toddler walking down the interstate, despite numerous vehicles passing through that area as depicted by the traffic camera surveillance video. So they're basically saying no evidence of toddler. Detectives have obtained surveillance video from Carlee's neighborhood, which shows her walking down the sidewalk alone prior to her arrival at her residence. Fire department radio traffic obtained by several media outlets shows that medics were dispatched to her residence on an unresponsive but breathing person. That was a term used in the initial dispatch of the Hoover Fire Department to the residents, and the information about her condition was simply a dispatcher relaying information from what a 911 caller told the emergency communicator. When first responders arrived on scene, they found Miss Russell conscious and speaking, and she was transported in that condition. She was later treated and released from a local hospital. Numerous evidentiary items are still being evaluated, and those items are key in the process of determining exactly what took place in the approximately 49 hours Carlee was missing, but also what took place prior to her disappearance. This release contains all the information the Hoover Police Department is able to provide at this time. We understand that there are numerous rumors and misinformation making the rounds in both social media and traditional media. While we understand the public interest in this incident, we must maintain the integrity of the case. Thus, we are limited in what information or statements we can release or confirm at this time. The Hoover Police Department will hold a conference tomorrow, that's today, at which time we will be able to release additional information. Wow. Okay. So that just released some very, very interesting information, including the fact that there were snacks or that she went to buy snacks and that there was no toddler. So that kind of makes this lean toward a planned disappearance, perhaps, or maybe, I mean, look, I don't want to put rumors out there, but there is one piece of speculation that could fit this whole thing. And that's that if she was on some type of hallucinogenics, that maybe she saw a toddler on the side of the road, and then that could also mean that maybe she was hungry. I don't know, the snacky thing. We want to believe all victims, and all people that put these types of allegations out there. But there is, and also actually the hallucinogenic aspect could be credible because it could make somebody very paranoid and act a certain type of way. So I don't know. Again, that's just purely 100% speculation on my part. That's it. Not facts. And I, of course, try to bring you guys facts. So that's why I'm sticking to statements from the family and from police. Then there was also a statement from the mom that was released yesterday afternoon. It says, on behalf of Carlee Russell and her family, we first want to sincerely acknowledge and thank everyone for all your prayers, reward contributions through Crime Stoppers, and all the numerous acts of kindness shown to us. We asked God to perform, and He did. We understand and appreciate the sincere concern. However, we would like the public to understand a few things. First and foremost, Carlee's physical and mental well-being is our immediate concern. This has been a traumatic experience for Carlee, and secondly, for our family. Secondly, this is an outstanding investigation, and we have fully cooperated with authorities from the onset and will continue to do so. Carlee has given detectives her statement, and hopefully they are pursuing her abductor. It will be up to law enforcement to determine what information they want to release and when they want to release this information as to not compromise the investigation. Further, we understand there are some questions about the reward donations through Crime Stoppers. It is my understanding from information I received when the reward was set up that any donations received that were not used for the reward would be returned to each donor. Lastly, when we initially asked for the help of the public in searching and praying for Carlee's safe return, we asked for sincere prayers, not prayers or support that came with strings or entitlement. I think what she's referring to there is that people getting upset that that it was under this potentially false pretense of how she disappeared. Next, we have not created nor authorized any GoFundMe accounts nor solicited money from anyone. Please understand our mental state and the anguish we have just experienced and that Carlee is still dealing with, and understand that no matter how many demands or false narratives that are produced, we will not be bullied into doing anything that will compromise our daughter's mental well-being or the investigation. Also, we will not entertain the negative social media comments with a response, so you find someone to do it. God has been too good to us and brought our daughter safely home, and we will not participate in allowing this moment to be tainted. There is one terrible and heartless hoax we want to address out of several. I received a text at some point from someone claiming to be Carlee and that she was at the Red Roof Inn. However, when my family went there and knocked doors and looked for her, there was no indication Carlee was there nor that she had ever been there. Any further questions or comments about the case will need to be directed to Hoover Police or the ABI. So for those, I've heard some people saying that was a typo. No, there's actually almost every state that I know of has a state Bureau of Investigation. So instead of the FBI, which is federal, that would be the Alabama Bureau of Investigation. For example, other cases, I know that Tennessee has a Tennessee Bureau of Investigation that was used a lot during the Summer Wells case. So I'd love to know your thoughts. I'm still on the camp. I mean, I'm leaning toward this not being a real abduction, but I'm open to seeing and hearing the facts and knowing more about the case before I say an absolute it's in any one or other direction. I know a lot of people are bringing up the fact that she brought snacks as evidence that, she was going somewhere, right? She was going to be meeting someone, right? And the fact that the snacks weren't there at the car. The other thing is that it's very convenient if an abductor would know, and I've heard reports of this, that they throw out after they've taken a car or after they've abducted somebody, that they often remove anything that could be traceable. So that could track if you're still on the abduction camp. we're not here trying to make anyone wrong. We're just trying to find the truth, because if there is in fact, an abductor out there, a kidnapper, then the public is not safe, and we want to make sure that people get the best information so that they can stay safe. All of this is to say, whether you're a man or a woman or a child or an older person, always be aware. That is the most important thing. Always be aware, question things, trust your intuition. I say this a lot. Trust your guts. If something doesn't feel right, listen to that before you take action, right? And so with that, we're going to be watching the press conference later together, and I'll make sure to put a link here as well in the comments so that you can join me live later when we cover the press conference. And until then, remember to stay safe, stay thriving, always follow your intuition and your gut, that gut instinct, and make sure to keep it empowering. All right, everyone, bye for now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button for notifications. Thank you.